You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch TV about how women from the 17th and 18th centuries were just stupid. They just didn't know what anything was.
They're just so dull.
So fucking helpless and stupid. It's such a good thing that we've evolved from those helpless, stupid, idiot women.
It's at the end of the episode, but when Angel says the problem with those women was they were dull, and I'm like, they couldn't fucking read.
Or breathe.
They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Listen, buddy, I'm so glad you're so enlightened and you love,
Yeah.
Anyway. I love this show, but
woman. Yes.
It has some problems.
It was interesting. I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrea.
And we watched the Halloween episode, one of the Halloween episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yes. Season 2, episode something.
6, 7?
I want to say around there.
6. Season 2, episode 6, Halloween.
Yes. Yeah.
I love this episode, despite a couple of issues.
It felt so like... What year was this in reality?
90. Let me double check, but I believe 97. Yep, October 27th, 1997.
I was going to say this felt about as 1997 as anything ever has.
It's so
1997. I think the only thing I may have texted you while watching it was about how Buffy has like 4 tiny little bangs on the front of her head.
Just the littlest bangs.
Just 4 little pieces of hair, not really doing anything. It's rough.
And she's got a nude lip.
Yes. Oh God. I mean,
upsetting.
Although I will say, I did appreciate the plaid pants. There's the plaid pant and black tank top thing was a classic staple 90s outfit for a certain type of girl.
Totally.
Being me. But this was also the start of low rise pants, or not the start of, but getting towards the height of, actually.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I appreciated the plaid pants.
This episode, everything the vampire with the video camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, Blair Witch. Now the only thing I think of when I see that little video camera frame.
Yeah, it's cool that Blair Witch Project invented the home video.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're famous for, right? Yeah. No, it's I enjoyed myself watching this. It was just very to me it felt very light and silly.
Yeah.
Which is enjoyable.
Season 2, I mean, Buffy gets so serious sometimes. Sometimes it's also very silly, and there are episodes where it's both, and of course that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
But I love season 2 so much. I think it's when it really starts to, like I've said, season 1 is tough. Season 2 is still silly, but I think its personality is more defined. I love this episode. It's I don't know if it's my favorite Halloween episode, but
yeah. It's funny. I was saying before we started recording, it's interesting for me to watch a season 2 mid-season episode after having watched this pilot with you, and then 1 or 2 more after that, just for the hell of it. But not so. Most of the people in this I recognized from those early couple of episodes, except for I knew that Seth Green was going to show up.
I'm so glad you got to just a little bit, but you got to meet Oz.
Just little Seth Green walking around with his hair.
What his deal is, just from cultural osmosis?
No. I mean, I know from this episode he's in a band. That's all I know.
But you don't know, what? Oh, I want to tell you.
You can tell me. This is not going to spoil anything for me because I may or may not ever watch the rest of the show.
Listeners, if you don't want to know Oz's deal, just skip,
I feel most, if not all, of other people that listen to this show have watched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't think that there's many people out there like me that haven't.
He's a werewolf.
I do think I might have heard that at some point, now that you say it.
And he's got a really good sniffer, and Willow gets a girlfriend later. He leaves and comes back, and Willow gets a girlfriend when they're in college, who I love so much, Tara. And, you met Amber Benson.
I met
plays,
Tara? Yes.
She's the mom in I Saw the TV Glow, who he knocks on the door of. But he knows something's up because he can smell her on her. He's like, she's all over you. And you're like, oh, my heart, Oz.
Oh, my God.
Because you love all of them. And, it's the late 90s, and bisexuality has just been invented. So they don't give Willow the, option
might
to
not
be
have
bisexual.
Right. They might not have seen that issue of what magazine was it? I always forget.
Newsweek.
Yeah, I always say it's Time. It's not. Yeah, they hadn't seen that episode yet, or that issue yet.
And it's really heartbreaking because it kind of invalidates, Willow's first real love, and
yeah,
it's a bummer.
Yeah, well, we didn't get much back then in terms of nice stories. Always tragedy.
Yeah, you get a little bit of Oz. You get also the "Who's that girl?" line at the end. That's like a recurring. That's like the third time he said that. They haven't met yet. They just keep kind of passing like that, and it's
right.
We're getting ready.
Yeah. So one of my friends posted. The timing on this was perfect. Posted a meme on Instagram today. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. It's a picture of. It's a picture of Willow and Oz, 2 pictures of Willow and Oz side by side, and it says, "Can a lesbian and a twink fall in love?" I figured you'd understand that. I didn't, but I mean, I kind of do. But yeah, it's not too hard. Oh, you can't see my phone, but there they are.
I love them and so much.
Yeah,
just so much.
Yeah. No, it was fun to see him since I know him from so many other random things, and I knew he was coming up. Got to see Spike for the first time and Drusilla.
The other love. I have so many loves of my life on this show, but I love Spike.
Funny to watch this as a full adult, having not experienced it as an adolescent, because to me, I'm just like
goofy, right?
Yeah, well, it's goofy, but it's also like the guys in it. Like I see that Angel is attractive. I get that.
Tall, dark, and forehead.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of not the forehead part, but the rest of it. It's closer to my type on that side of the spectrum. But like, as soon as you put on the vampire makeup to any of them, I'm just like, I can't. And if I was a 12-year-old or 13-year-old watching this, I would be like, wow, okay.
They're so it's like just 90s hot, both of them in their own way.
So much. The hair, all of it. Yeah.
Just the like silk, like 2-button, unbuttoned
the shirts. Totally. I also got to see a little bit of a different side of Giles in this.
Oh, Ripper. It's the first time we learned that Giles has a past.
Yeah. And I wondered if it was the first time anyone watching found that out.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ripper.
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you everything. You won't care because
I won't. I mean, I'm happy to be spoiled because I don't know. I mean, I have so many other things to get to. I don't know if this is ever gonna come back into my queue at all. So,
but should we do? There are just so many little things I love about this episode. Should we do just a walk through the plot? It's not super.
Yeah, it's not super
so I don't
complicated.
Think it'll take too long to do it that way, so we might as well.
My comments are mostly like, who has a cappuccino at a bar, and
well, it's
boys are so fragile. Like those are my comments.
Yeah.
So
Xander is. I mean, I don't remember if we talked about this at the top of the last time we watched Buffy, but obviously Joss Whedon, horrific, terrible man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just across the board. Nicholas Brendan as well. He's really troubled. And I think everybody knew he was pretty troubled for a long time, but it's starting to come out more that he's also just like not a good person in a lot of ways. A lot of allegations.
That's a bummer.
Which is a bummer because I mean, it's not a bummer because I have a know for Xander because it has nothing to do with me, but it's just,
Yeah. No, it's always like, a downer when you find those things out.
Exactly.
But sure, let's do a little run through. We'll try not to get bogged down in too much of the plot because the plot is pretty simple. But
yeah,
I mean, the plot could basically just be stated in like 3 sentences, like sort of. Costumes possess people wearing them because of a curse or something put on them by this guy, Ethan, who's maybe a demon. Like, and then they have to run from Spike and the other vampire people until the curse is reversed, and then they fight them off.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah. I mean, that's the long and the short of it, right?
Yeah. But that's not why the episode is fun. Like
Right.
the plot is what it is. It's kind of a neat conception and idea that is not new, but is like well seen.
Yeah, and I think
well created.
It really gives this show a chance to kind of show its personality, you know. My favorite thing, one of my favorite things about Buffy is just that canonically Halloween is boring. That like the vampires think it's tacky, so they lay low.
Yep. But yeah, so we start. This is my first introduction, like I said, to Spike and Drusilla. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if I need to. I kind of got it, you know. He's like, because there wasn't there another demon before. This is gonna be my whole episode. Wasn't this thing happening? What's happening? Who's that?
There's always another demon. So you're thinking of the Master and the Harvest, who's trying to reopen the Hellmouth and feed it up to take over.
Of course,
but that was a season and a half ago, Jodie. That's old news.
So over. Okay, got it. So. But Spike is one that hangs out for a long time, I'm guessing, because I've heard of him before, and I know he had a show.
Spike starts out as he goes back and forth with how much of a threat he is, but he's kind of like this season's big bad, or like one of this season's big bads. And he and Drusilla's a little scrambled, and he's working on kind of helping her become
what is
scrambled.
She's
also another vampire.
Okay. I didn't know if she was like a townsperson that he took over or something.
No, she traveled to Sunnydale with him.
Okay.
They have a long history. And they love each other in their own, kind of not the healthiest way. But she says like, oh God, so hold on, we don't even meet them yet. The first thing we get is it's a Halloween episode, so hilariously they're she's like slaying vampires in a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
Which I think is so cute.
Yep.
It's just very silly. Pop's pumpkin patch.
Yeah, I wrote someone is filming her kick a demon's ass in a pumpkin patch.
And so I think that's really fun because why not? And then the next, we see like he's filming, blah, blah, blah.
Apparently the demon didn't know to charge his battery beforehand.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, the light goes out. And then after that is the bronze.
Right.
So Angel, is obviously waiting for Buffy. But,
so I'm in a time jump here. So now they're dating, or something.
He would love it if they were, but she's being so Buffy about it.
She's a teenager. He's like what, hundreds of years old?
Yeah, we really gotta decide what we think in general. I mean, Twilight, Buffy, all
of these shows that you have made me watch are so inappropriate with these May-December relationships.
With these May...
14,
15, December 1997 relationships.
Exactly.
I don't actually know off the top of my head what century. I should.
I think it's 17th or 18th, but
what century?
I wrote it down somewhere. Angel was 18 in 1775 and still human. Okay. I wrote that down because it felt important to me.
Okay. I guess he doesn't predate Shakespeare. I don't know why. 1400.
Yeah, but like. Dawson has a million of these inappropriate relationships but they're not quite as...
Just you wait, Jodie.
Oh, no, I see it coming. There's more hot teachers popping up every day on this fucking show.
Oh, I've been watching season 6 ahead of you now, and just cackling at how often they find ways to
unbelievable.
It's truly, I don't know what we were doing in the 90s or in the early aughts, but
I know. Oh my God. Anyway, we'll talk about Dawson later. So yeah, they're at the bronze. She's late because she's fighting demons. And so Cordelia comes in and is like flirting with him, and he's kind of like entertaining it, but is like, yeah, okay, you're fine, whatever.
That's what it feels like. Buffy's got her own stuff going on, so she reacts pretty strongly to him talking to Cordelia.
So sensitive.
Yeah, and I know that like part of that is because it's Cordelia, and it's like clear that Cordelia is obviously, and she's open about it. Yeah, like trying to move in on Angel, but I think Angel's totally appropriate here. He laughs at her joke. It's not a great joke, but
he's being
not
nice.
Rude to her. He's being perfectly friendly.
Yeah.
But
then Buffy leaves because she's upset, and Cordelia gets him, like I said, a cappuccino at a bar. Not a thing. I wish it was, as someone who doesn't really drink. It would be great.
I guess because it's an all ages kind of
bar, but
I'm
even that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I went to so many of those types of places. It would have been a killer to be able to get a good coffee. It was never the case. Never the case.
And then, then it's the next day.
In school, yeah.
In school. And now you haven't met, this is Principal Snyder.
Yeah,
I
don't like him. He touches people way too much.
Yeah.
He's very touchy with the girls.
Yeah, it's not okay. But Principal Flutie's dead, so you missed that.
Okay.
Principals don't tend to last too long on Buffy.
That's fair.
And they have this program?
Yeah. Yeah. Take kids trick-or-treating from 4 to 6 p.m. and then bring them home.
Yeah, and he weirdly, they get voluntold that they're going to do it, which seems to me like if you're Principal Snyder and you don't trust Buffy, putting her in charge of young people.
I know. Well, and he says he's going to expel her if not. I'm like, how does this person have all this power over everyone for some reason?
Yeah, it seems like TV show principals tend to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the principal makes all three of them, Xander, Willow, and Buffy, sign up. And he's just a dick.
Yeah, Principal Snyder's a dick. The other important thing that happens here is Larry the bully.
Yes. He says that Buffy, someone told him that she's fast. It's I love that fucking phrasing.
Yeah.
That 1950s, she's fast.
Xander's really funny because he's like, I hope you mean the wind.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
But he's also gross because he's kind of well, yeah, but I'm, dibs, basically.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And of course then, because he's a big sensitive baby, which you already know from the pilot, Buffy defends him and his little ego's real bruised.
I liked that old soda machine though. Very classic. Just the certain things that in these shows that we watch, I have a sense memory of. Mm-hmm. And that's one of them. Those old school, they had 4 things in them.
I can feel what that button would feel like under my hands to press
with the wood panel, fake wood panel sticker on the front. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then Willow and Buffy are talking, and this is where the boys are so fragile line comes in. They find out that Giles, the Watcher, has diaries that they want to read to find out about Angel's past, I guess.
Yeah, because she's
his romantic history.
Yeah, because Buffy's I don't even know what kind of women he'd be into or whatever. And then this
is where I was she's in high school and he's 100-something years old or hundreds of years old. Mm-hmm. And that started to feel very weird to me. Mm-hmm. I don't care. It's one of those this high school girl is so mature thing,
Yeah.
That's very 90s too.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean,
I'm not whatever. It is what it is. It was the time period that everything was like that, but it just really jumped out at me, I think, because I'm still watching Dawson. I'm still seeing teenagers and their authority figures dating.
It's bad. But Angel's a different story. But it's so funny because this is what I mean about how much I just love what good friends the people on the show are. Because when Willow and Buffy are going back and forth, they're but it would be wrong. And then it cuts right to them both peeking through the little library window.
It was very Scooby-Doo.
So Scooby-Doo.
It was very Scooby-Doo.
I don't know if you know that's their nickname. They're the Scoobies.
No.
On Buffy. Yeah, they're the Scooby Gang. Isn't that cute? Because it's like Scooby-Doo. They call themselves that. It's very cute.
That is very cute. I also noted here that they have the thinnest eyebrows possible. This is the height of the overplucking.
We just hated eyebrows in the 90s.
Just get rid of them.
Get them out of here.
Yep.
We also, this is also when, so they're looking through the diaries. Buffy sees a drawing of a woman.
Yeah.
As if it's a photograph. She's beautiful.
Yep.
But then Cordelia walks in.
Yes.
And they try.
Clarify this for me. Does Cordelia know about everything?
Cordelia knows that Buffy is the Slayer and that demons are real.
Okay.
She doesn't know that Angel is a vampire.
Even though she was just told that Angel's a vampire.
She does. She thinks that Buffy's trying to, like, throw her off his scent.
Okay.
And I don't know when we find, like, she must... I can't remember a scene where, like, Cordelia comes sort of, like, face to face with the knowledge that Angel is definitely a vampire and realizes that she just at some point knows.
Okay.
So that must have happened off. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember that specifically.
We also are reminded that Willow is the most shy, insecure, prudish, like, person that's ever existed. She can't possibly, like, let go of any of it for a fucking second. Mm-hmm. It's really, like, she's super repressed.
Yeah.
But she wants to be noticed.
She really breaks my heart. I love her so much. Yeah, because they go to the Halloween store after this, right? And she picks this just
the
like
ghost,
full body ghost costume.
I really like that ghost costume. I thought it was just going to be a sheet, but it's got some detail to it. It's got like a little bit of a neckline, and it's got like a different shape. It's kind of a better ghost costume than I expected it to be.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Yeah,
I appreciated it.
And Xander buys a gun.
Yes.
Because he already has fatigues back home.
Well, he calls himself the $2 costume king, which I very much appreciated, because that was, as we talked about last time, like, my vibe was often like, you know, throw a stuffed cat in a bag and record my cat meowing. So, yeah, I appreciate a cheap costume.
Mm-hmm. So we've got Willow the ghost,
Xander the soldier,
and then Buffy with this dress.
She sees the ball gown.
And she thinks she can't afford it. But the guy, Ethan, it's Ethan's Halloween shop.
Yep.
It's like, going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
I wrote down immediately, costume guy's a demon too.
Maybe.
Whatever he is, who cares? He's one of them.
He's interested in demonology at least.
Yeah.
He might have some old friends that he used to get up to like demon business with.
He might, yeah.
And then this is when we get Spike and Drusilla together, who I love.
Yeah,
so much.
He has a lot of TVs. This is sort of like an airport TV array of like arrival and departure dates kind of hanging from the ceiling, but it's all videos of Buffy fighting.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, well, he's studying because she's such a good slayer. He's really got to like...
Yeah. He's got to get it down, figure it out. Drusilla says, do you like my insides? Here, I don't know what else she said about that, but I loved that.
Oh, I love the two of them. She says, do you love my insides, the part you can't see?
Yeah.
And then Spike says, no, this is iconic, Jodie. This is everything to everyone who loves Spike. He says, eyeballs to entrails, my sweet. Which is, it's very romantic.
Very romantic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he says that's why he's studying Buffy, so that he can figure out how to defeat her so that Drusilla can have her run of, he says, sunny hell. And get strong again. And then she says Drusilla gets like visions and stuff, and also like I said, her brain's kind of scrambled, so she says, don't worry, everything's switching outside to inside. It makes her weak.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was like, how does she know that? But I guess it doesn't really matter.
Spike says, did my pet have a vision? And she says, her response to that is, do you know what I miss? Leeches.
I love a non sequitur, especially about something so stupid.
It's so good.
It was good.
But she's had a vision that something's going to make Buffy weak tomorrow. We know it's, the dress.
We flash immediately to that creepy guy again, the costume shop guy, Ethan.
He's in a spooky robe, so you know.
Yeah. And he's got a spooky statue with two faces on it.
He gives like a little... I love all of the like spells and chanting and like...
That was definitely Latin. And I took 4 years, well, Latin-esque. I took 4 years of Latin in high school, and I was like, I wish I remembered any of it.
Yeah, I don't know how...
Because there were words in there that sounded like actual words that I had probably learned at one point.
Oh, yeah, it's like a... It's definitely Latin. There's like a one of the like famous like Buffy lines that we all love so much is Xander, don't speak Latin in front of the books, because he's like randomly reading out of a book and it bursts into flames because he obviously doesn't actually speak Latin. But yeah, so you're right, it's Latin.
Yeah, I mean those 4 years of it in high school, if I paid attention, Could have done me some good here, but all I know how to do is say, "How is the weather today?" Because it's the only thing that our teacher would say every single time, and I took it for 4 years. So I heard him say it like every day for 4 years. Somebody told me I should take that for my vocabulary. That I would do better on my SATs.
Oh, yeah, that was
the line.
That's the line. Did it feel like it made a difference for you?
Not really. I don't know. I was always a word kid. I always knew the words anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't take Latin, and it's the only subject I excelled in general was English. So
yeah, I just read a lot.
So then next is Buffy and Willow getting ready for trick-or-treating
right.
And now Buffy has convinced Willow to wear a different costume.
Yeah.
Which is hot slut.
Yeah, exactly.
What this
That's
is.
why I just paused, because I was like, I wrote down, what is Willow supposed to be? And then I couldn't remember why I wrote that down, but that's why I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Because she's just wearing a little mini skirt and a crop top and honestly looks like any 90s kid to me.
Yeah, I think that in the script she's referred to as like hot rocker chick.
Okay, sure. Sure.
Total. The one I'm looking at, I don't think this one's official, but this one says total rocker babe.
Okay.
So
it's about as specific a description as Ricky going as everyone else last week.
But it's very like Buffy is giving her the Mean Girls. Like Mean Girls is like that, where it's like the one time a year a girl can dress like a total slut.
Yeah.
No other girl can say anything about it.
Yeah.
Buffy's kind of like, telling Willow this in a way to empower her.
Yeah. I mean, she needs to loosen up a little. Mm-hmm. So.
But then when they're all getting ready to leave, Willow comes down, and I think it's a very funny reveal that she's and it's a full, just like her whole face.
I definitely laughed at that part.
It's great.
When you see her coming down the stairs.
Oh, Buffy also says, "Willow, you're a dish," which is like, I guess it's 90s slang, but I don't know that I ever heard anybody actually say.
It's in the same genre as somebody calling someone fast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very 1950s.
Yeah.
But so they're going to take the kids out trick-or-treating. It's between 4 and 6 p.m. supposedly, and it's dark in California. That's not right.
Yeah, I don't
just
know how.
FYI.
I don't know how the sun works.
It's not dark in California between 4 and 6 p.m. in October, just to fact check. Yeah, we see the guys casting that spell again, speaking more Latin, sweating a lot. Everybody's
he is really
very sweaty.
Yeah.
We've got the different tactics for like trick-or-treating. Mm-hmm. Different, each of the three of them is like leading their own little troupe of characters and talking them through whose house to go to and how to act. And
Xander's leaning into the like military esque-ness of it, and he's got his little troops. My favorite part of this entire episode happens right at this part. It's when Oz and Cordelia is dating the singer of Oz's band, Devin.
I gathered that from the context clues.
Where she says that she's dating Devin.
Those context clues.
And when she's dressed as a cat.
Yeah.
And she walks up to Oz, and Oz says, "Cordelia, you're like a great big cat." And she says, "That's my costume." It's so weird.
I know. Their interaction was very, very funny.
I love it so much.
But she's doing the classic. She's doing the classic teen girl. Don't know what else to do. I'm going to be a cat costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's her costume.
Yeah,
you're like a great big cat. It's my costume. It's just the delivery is good. They're both so funny here, and she's like. She says, like, as Mr. I'm the lead singer, I'm so great, I don't have to show up for a date or even call going to be there. And Oz says, yeah, he's just going by Devin now. And then she goes on, like, this big, long tirade. Well, you can tell him that I don't care and that I didn't even mention it. I didn't even see you, so that's just fine. He's like, so what do I tell him? Yeah. Their exchange is so fun. This is what I mean about this show. Like, I think it has a lot of, like, just, like, personality. We talked.
Yeah.
I wonder how you feel now, because compared to the pilot, where I think you were really underwhelmed by the dialogue.
I don't know that I was... by the dialogue, I was definitely underwhelmed. I wouldn't say overall, but...
Right.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit more lived in at this point. there's more sort of specificity in the way they talk to each other and less just cliched lines. Some of them are still cliched lines, but it definitely feels more like they're getting a sense of who the people are, or they've gotten a sense of who people are.
I just have to, not to harp on Oz and Willow, but then, like, Cordelia is Cordelia. She storms off, and Oz says, like, now why can't I meet a nice girl like that? And immediately bumps into Willow, dressed as the ghost.
Right.
It's very cute. We're just waiting.
I could tell we were waiting. I could tell. It was not subtle, but it was cute.
The two, like, weird little gingers.
Yeah.
Are on a
collision course, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. But now the spell gets cast. Oh no. Bad time to run out of candy, old lady.
One of my favorite things about Buffy is how low budget it is.
Yeah. It is pretty.
They do show us those kids turning into.
They sure
demons.
do. They sure do. Child monsters everywhere now. Yikes.
Just a bunch of little demons.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah, the special effects were something. And it took me a second to figure out what's going on with Willow. Like, even though I knew the premise, I knew exactly what was supposed to be happening, but she collapses and then she rises up out of the ghost costume as a ghost.
I don't know
how else they would have done that.
Right. But I've seen this episode a handful of times. I don't totally understand why Willow is still Willow but a ghost.
She still knows everything.
She still knows everything? Is it because she has two costumes?
It feels like to me it's because this is going to get philosophical, because a ghost is the person that it is but dead. So it's like Willow but dead versus a soldier. I know. There's that doesn't work either.
That's like, I'm with you, except that then why isn't Buffy but
right?
Although I guess maybe she is.
Yeah, they both are. They say later on that they're like they can know they feel they're like trapped inside. They know what's happening, but they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's just and like all of it is very weird, because then also like what you'll learn if you continue to watch Buffy is Xander also sometimes retains military expertise.
Okay.
Like sometimes he's just able to like call up what I guess was planted. They kind of do whatever they want with this. I don't know.
They do. That's all right.
But yeah, so now Willow's a ghost.
Yeah.
Buffy's so stupid.
Yeah, all women were back then. And Xander's running around pretending to shoot people with an actual gun now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of scrambling that happens when they realize that like all the children are monsters, which is kind of how I always feel on Halloween.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I hate myself for this, but I am the person that is either not home or like my lights are off at this point. Because I get like 5 people in my neighborhood. It's not worth it.
Yeah, we don't get trick-or-treaters here.
If I had like a busy Halloween neighborhood, I would totally go for it. But,
it's just...
Yeah, so they go hide in Buffy's house. Mm-hmm. She's never seen a car. She thinks it's a demon.
It's a demon.
This is, again, nobody cares. This is like so nitpicky. She doesn't understand what a car is, but she picks up a photograph. She wouldn't know what that is either. Photography is invented in 1839. 1839.
Right, as evidenced by the fact that in the diaries from
it's a
Xander's,
drawing.
Yeah.
She would have thought it was witchcraft if she picked up a photograph of herself.
That's
clearly not. There was not a photography historian on the.
They're kind of just playing fast and loose with all of it. It just makes. I'm sorry to do this. It makes no sense. Willow remembers everything about who she is. She's just a ghost. Buffy is thrown back into 17 whatever and is like. Seems to have memories of what 1775 is like, but then Xander is just kind of like...
He's a little bit of both.
He's like kind of like a G.I. Joe, where it's like...
Yes.
I don't get the impression that this person remembers specific... You know what I mean? Like, has a life.
He's like empty-headed, kind of protect at all costs is like his only vibe.
It's like as if the dress that Buffy is wearing is from 1775.
Yeah, it feels like it's possessed. Like it's like it's a different thing. That dress is possessing her or haunting her in a way that is a little bit different from everything else.
Mm-hmm. And also, they make such a big thing about Xander saying his fatigues are from the army surplus store. Mm-hmm. So just the gun alone is enough to transform him. Why didn't they just have
good
him
point.
wear army fatigues from Ethan's?
Right.
Because it's not like, because there's something interesting, like maybe what they could have done is if Xander's holding the gun, he's the soldier, but when he puts it down, he's regular Xander, and they have to flip back and forth between him being like a useful protector versus having the knowledge of everything going on. That might have been fun.
Yeah, I forgot about the Five and Dime store or the army surplus store stuff.
Mm-hmm. So who knows?
Yeah, I liked the line. She could have dressed up like Zeta. That was a good little note there.
Oh, there's just a lot of really good little lines like that. There's also the way that Xander says when she screams and says a demon, and Willow, it's not a demon, it's a car. When Buffy says, what does it want? And Xander turns to Willow and he says, is this woman insane? Just the way he delivers that is really good.
Yeah, we see that Willow can walk through walls. Mm-hmm. And then Spike and his goons show up. And is like, he says, this is neat.
Neat.
Yeah.
Spike's name is William the Bloody. That's like what he's known as.
Okay.
Which sounds so scary. And you find out much, much later that he's called William the Bloody because he's a bloody, awful poet.
Wow.
Jodie.
Wow. Lore. Yeah. I am so not the right age or demographic to be charmed by this at this point in my life. I'm like, he's an early 20s guy in some vampire makeup.
It's also James Marsters in real life has like such a California accent. And I didn't know that at first. And not that I didn't watch this in 1997. I was a few years. It was in its second to last season when I picked it up. I think that's probably about right. So it was still airing, but I caught up and then, so anyway, all that to say, whenever I have to hear James Marsters talk in his real voice, we did meet at a convention once, and I wanted to be like, they should make this man use the accent during meet and greets, because I did not meet Spike.
It's so rattling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also have met Anya, who you have not met, and I'm trying to think who else. They're the only two. They're the two who matter to me. She was so nice.
I don't know who she is, so
you don't know who she is, but I'm gonna. For listeners who've watched Buffy, she was at her table at Comic-Con in Philly, and we walked up, and she was literally drawing bunnies on the table. And Jodie, that means nothing to you, but for any of our Buffy listeners, they're losing their minds at how just the idea of walking up to Anya while she's drawing bunnies.
I'm happy for our listeners to have that vision in their own minds.
They're delighted right now. Okay. Anyway,
Willow has to save the day. She runs to the library or through the library to find our friend Giles, who figures out what's happening pretty quickly. Yeah.
He's so smart.
He knows things. He realizes that because they got all their costumes at Ethan's, but Cordelia didn't, and she didn't turn into an actual cat.
No.
So I kind of wish she had. It would have been really funny, but that wouldn't fit the plot.
Yeah, it's her costume.
Yes.
She's like
her great costume.
Big cat, but she's not actually a great big cat.
No, she's not. Buffy freaks out because she sees Angel as a vampire, goes out the back door, and then they have to go follow her. And Spike is following them as well, and he's kind of attacking her, and they end up in a warehouse.
Yeah, so we get the shot of that, and then we cut back to this is where Giles and Willow head to the costume shop, and Giles and Ethan.
Right. They have their confrontation. We find out they know each other.
Hello, Ethan. And Ethan says, hello, Ripper.
Yes.
Giles has a past.
Andrea's full of secrets, and she's so happy to be full of secrets. Things that I don't know about the show. But, okay. The scene between the two of them, so two things are happening at once. It's like that sort of heightened moment right before everything is finished where Giles and Ethan are having a confrontation. Giles is like beating up Ethan. I thought that like supernatural people had better ways to solve arguments, but they're like physically fighting. And
I just have to remind you, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
That in this season, Giles is about 43.
I know. Every now and then you'll get an angle on his face where he's not like as covered in like glasses and ties and all this stuff where you kind of are like, oh wait, he's not actually an old person. So at the same time that that's happening, Buffy and Xander and Willow are fighting off Spike and his little demons, piling things up at the entrance. They're like, there's like action going on simultaneously in two places. But Ethan didn't hold out very long. He didn't put up much of a fight. I feel like I was expecting more drama there.
Well, and it sort of seems like he's mostly doing this just to be a little stinker anyway. Which, again, I'm being like very like Giles' little backstory. But they were just kind of like to be, again, Buffy spoilers, so many. They like Ripper and Ethan and their little crew were just like dark arts dabblers. They would like get possessed by demons on purpose for fun just because it was like a rush. So Giles is like feeling bad and trying to atone, and that's why he like wasn't a watcher forever the way that most watchers are. He really had to be like convinced and he's trying to atone, and this buttoned up thing is like a pendulum swing to the other side.
Right.
And so
yeah, I mean, you kind of get that sense that like Ethan's doing this kind of for fun, not because he's driven for some like deep-seated reason.
Exactly.
But and that makes sense that that's why he gives up on it so easily. But it really, to me, was like, oh, I guess he's just going to tell him how to fix it now. And he smashes the giant head sculpture and everybody snaps back to themselves.
And that's that. There's an episode of Buffy later where all of the adults revert to like their teen selves and Giles is like in jeans and a white t-shirt.
Cute.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
I also noted that, so in this little end scene where they've snapped back to themselves, Buffy starts beating the crap out of everybody. Xander is back to being his, what do they call him before? A sissy man or something?
I believe sissy man. There's something really funny where Larry is actually a pirate.
Yes, I know what you're going to say.
And Xander, as the soldier, fights him off. And he says, it's strange, but beating up that pirate gave me a strange sense of closure.
Yeah.
Perfect. So funny.
But the other thing is that Spike gives up very easily here. She, like, throws a couple punches and kicks at him, and he's like, I'm out.
Yeah, I guess he's in it for the long
I guess.
haul. I don't know.
Part of me was like, does he not want to fight in front of the children?
Aw. Like, Spike.
There's a bunch of actual kids there now.
Yeah.
That they have to take home that just watched something very strange happen and will probably be fucked up for life because of it.
It's nice of Spike to be so sweet and thoughtful.
Willow is suddenly gone. She wakes up under the sheet. But she doesn't need the sheet anymore.
No.
She walks down the street in her slut clothes.
And Oz happens to be driving by.
In the van.
And is enamored.
Yeah.
Who's that girl? Aww.
And then there's like an end scene with Buffy and Angel in her bedroom. Again, I want to mention she's a teenager. And then Ethan's shop is our final stop. Giles goes in. It's all empty and cleared out. And there's a note that says, be seeing you from Ethan.
And then, again, there are just so many, like Giles looking directly into the camera. He's like he's like our fourth wall breaker. I don't know if you remember in the pilot, he looks directly into the camera and he says, the world is doomed.
I don't know if I remember that, but yeah.
Teen.
Right.
God, Angel. They were just incredibly dull, simpering morons, the lot of them. I always wished I could meet someone exciting, interesting.
Yeah. Well, women hadn't evolved yet. We were all stupid then.
I just have to remind our listeners, I don't think we were allowed to read. I think
We were wearing dresses that were cutting off our circulation.
I think, isn't it, one of them says like, oh wait, maybe this is Dawson's Creek. Now I don't remember.
Are we confusing the two?
I might be, because somebody. Oh, yeah. Buffy early on says it would have been wonderful to put on some fantabulous gown and go to a ball like a princess, have servants and horses and yet more gowns. And Willow says, I think I prefer being able to vote.
Yeah.
Or I will when I can, because
She's
they're teenagers.
under 18. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the episode.
It was a good time. It was
What
a good
a show.
time. Be careful what you dress up as. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed that. I felt like, so far we've watched 3 Halloween episodes. The first was the Blair Witch homage slash ripoff. Mm-hmm. The second was like a classic back in time teen legend tale of Nikki Driscoll. And this is more of a sort of classic horror movie. Like, it almost felt like a very Stephen King conceit to me. Like,
Yeah, or like Goosebumps has that episode of The Haunted Mask.
all that. So before we wrap up, we are going to talk about what we're watching next week. But I think we need to do a little check-in about a couple of things. Mm-hmm. One thing in particular that I want to hear about. I brought up last week a certain new television show with our friend Pacey, a.k.a. Joshua Jackson, called Dr. Odyssey, which he referred to as having big deck energy in an interview.
God.
Which from the trailer to me looked like Love Boat meets like I don't know, House or something. So you texted me last night that you watched the first episode.
I did.
And I need to know what you thought.
I think Love Boat meets House is exactly what it's going for.
Okay.
I thought it was really fun. I don't... It wasn't good.
Okay.
It's so shiny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He's so handsome.
Yeah.
It's like disgusting. Like, I've loved Pacey in all of his ages because I grew up loving Pacey. But like, when I go back and watch, obviously when I go back and watch him as like a 17-year-old boy, it's different. But even in my head, I'm like, what was I thinking as a 12-year-old being in love with Pacey?
Yeah.
But now there's not a version or age of me that wouldn't be in love with this Pacey Witter. He's
a handsome man.
He's so handsome. It's like,
he's a handsome man. He has aged well.
He just gets to like walk around and be handsome and capable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird because it's a Ryan Murphy show. And so I only watched the first episode and I just kept waiting for something to reveal itself.
Right.
And it didn't. And I don't know if it is just going to be
just a standard, like,
The Love Boat meets House, which I think is kind of fun. I feel like we don't have too many shows that are like just a show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that idea. I mean, like, there's a reason people like procedurals and like it makes me think of, and I don't know if this is an accurate comparison because I haven't seen it, but there was that show on like USA or something, Royal Pains or like White Collar or one of those like a handsome person procedural,
right?
Kind of lighthearted.
Yeah, my feeling is this has a little more personality. Like some of it was really silly. Like there's like a little like a kind of dance off. Rachel Dratch is.
I remember seeing her name on the.
Yeah, she's one of the cruise. What do you call them? Cruisers. What do you call them? Passengers?
I think they call themselves cruisers, actually.
Oh, well, she's a cruiser. She and her husband.
Yeah.
And so, and the thing you mentioned, I think it was you who told me this, is that he's like kind of COVID patient zero.
Yes. I still don't understand how that is a part of the show, but.
Well, I can tell you briefly because it doesn't.
Please tell me.
He refers to himself as patient zero. When he recounts how it happened, he said there weren't that many cases in the States yet, but he's like the first one I think he was living in Connecticut. He was like a doctor at a hospital.
Of course he was living in Connecticut.
And he's the patient zero there.
Got it.
And because of that, he
wasn't like in the wet market in China or anything.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
But it is weird because then it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So?
Like every hospital had the first COVID patient in their hospital, but fine. But because of that, he's decided to, because it's like, what is this brilliant doctor doing on a cruise ship? And it's that he's decided to embrace joy because he's got a new shot at life.
Okay. And so he is a brilliant doctor. He's not like I
think he's a brilliant doctor. He hasn't had to like do too much yet.
Yeah.
But I think we're supposed to think that, yes, he's a brilliant doctor. Can I tell you what my ADHD brain has been doing for the last half hour?
Sure.
Recasting a Buffy reboot. Pacey, Joshua Jackson is currently 46 years old. He's the perfect age to play Giles in a Buffy reboot.
That's interesting.
He'd be perfect.
Would he?
Yeah, because they'd nerd him up, and then when they have the episode where he goes back to like his teen self, like Giles, they put him in a white t-shirt and he's a total babe. But it's like, they could do it. You have to be hotter now than you had to be in the 90s also to be on TV. So he's got to be.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know if we were recording when we said this or when I said this, but I just started season 6 of Dawson's Creek, and god damn, that goatee is bad.
I warned you.
You did warn me, and I, even with the warning, like, I think I texted you last night that, like, it's like a flashback thing. Like, I dated a lot in the 90s, and the goatees were just rampant. They were on everyone, and they were horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I know it's like they're trying to age him up a little bit, and he's got such a youthful...
He looks like someone left him on a desert island. His hair is everywhere. He's got the grown-in goatee. His clothes are too big because it's that time of the because it's the early 2000s at this point.
Yeah, and it's a shame too because Dawson is finally starting to look, like I said to you, like as handsome as Dawson gets is season 6.
He looks better,
and he's
also less like whiny. At least as of episode 1, I'm sure he'll get whiny again.
Dawson and Joey are just despicable this season.
Both of them. They are normally. I am so over it.
Well, and it's so funny because I always say I'm Team Pacey, but it's kind of independent of...
Yeah, it's not necessarily Pacey and Joey.
I just love him so much.
Yeah.
That's Creek Corner. I probably will watch at least one more episode of Dr. Odyssey. He's just... Because it's like...
I'll probably watch the first one just for the hell of it. I mean, like,
you might
House on a cruise ship sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'll be drawn to watch more than that, but...
It's definitely going for House on a cruise ship. It's a little... It's, House is its own thing.
Yeah.
But it's... I'll be interested to see what you think of the first episode. I will probably watch at least one more.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
we'll see.
He's nice to look at.
He's just such a charmer too. I just like I think he's so great. Obviously, I don't know if I've made that clear enough.
No, by the dog laying on the couch next to you named Pacey.
Yeah.
Should we talk about next week?
Yeah, let's talk about next week.
One more Halloween episode. One more return to something that we have talked about previously. I'm excited. This show came up literally yesterday in a conversation with a friend, where she told me that it was where she had gotten a lot of her like introduction to indie music, which is exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to go back to this. I felt like out of all the things that I've watched that were new to me, this was one where I was like, oh, if I had been the right age, this would have been absolutely my shit.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. So, do you know exactly which episode it is that we're watching? Because I have the name of the show, but I don't know if we have the episode written down.
It's called Halloweeny.
Right. We are watching Pete and Pete. I'm excited.
One of my favorite Pete and Pete episodes, which means it's one of my favorite television episodes. And it's so in conversation with the things we've been talking about. There'll be plenty for us to get into, and I'm just excited. There's nothing you need to, I mean, you guys watched you watched 2 episodes with us, so you know what to expect. It's just another good one.
Yeah, we're gonna close out October with some more Jerseyness, because there's never enough of that around here.
Truly, never enough Jersey.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there's a chance that I will be in New Jersey next month.
I hope so. Listeners, if you have thought about going, we are more than halfway sold out. So
we haven't said what we're going to.
Oh, oops. I just assumed, because I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah. So the last big New Jersey It's the World live show, November 24th, 3rd, something. 23rd. It's a Saturday. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think I said this last week. We're still working out what it's going to actually be, but every plan we've had has been crazy and silly and fun. And it's
going to be fun regardless. It sounds like most people that are anywhere nearby or even not and are able to work it out are going to try to be there.
I think it's going to be a real party.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to cry. So
yeah, probably.
There we go.
I mean, I might too. Who knows? But yeah, it'll be a good time. It's my last hurrah before I have surgery. So
what a way to cap off the year,
Seriously.
I'll drop a link to the tickets in the show notes too.
Good.
I think that's it. That's it. We've done it. So
we've done it.
One more Halloween episode. We'll let you know next week what our plans are for November.
Yep, we will. And yeah, where can they find us?
We're at WatchersPodNJ on Instagram, WatchersPodNJ at Gmail. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Jodie_Mim, JODIE_MIM.
I'm at AQ Andrea Q.
There you go.
I fully forgot for a second.
And we will see you back in Jersey.
Hell yeah. Well,
next week, kind of ish.
We'll see you in Wrigleyville. Wrigleyville?
Okay. Wrigleyville.
That's Pete Wrigley. We'll see you in Wellsville. Wrigleyville.
That's where the Cubs play. Andrea.
That's because their last name is Wrigley.
Yeah, no, I figured that out.
And my brain is not
I got
good.
there. Yes.
We will see you in Wellsville.
See you in Wellsville with the Wrigleys. In New Jersey.
Wow. In New Jersey. Theoretically.
Yes.
Amazing. Goodbye.
Okay. 2 women with ADHD start a podcast.